Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. For those of you who will be watching this on YouTube, my apologies. Last week I couldn't put out the video because I was sick. I'm still a little sick now, so if you hear me coughing, excuse that. And hopefully I will be back in Dubai next Monday. So things should go back to regular. And I would try not the first week, maybe the second week in October, the third week in October. I'll give you 1 week free videos. So you can get yourself ready for that. I'll let you know when it's going to be 1 week so that you can catch up in all the thing. And then we'll see where we go from there, right? If you like what I do, share the videos, share it to someone else, and you might help them. You know, they might find it interesting and they might find it useful. So if you find it useful, share it with someone. Let's go. So this video might be a bit long because I haven't, even in my group, I haven't been very active since I was sick. Thank God my group has a lot of very, very good traders. I mean, really amazing traders that are taking care of the group. And that's the most amazing thing about the group we have. I don't be there and the group is functioning amazingly good. So that's the most important thing you should know about our group. It will always function. And it's a group you might want to join one day if you can afford it. So let's go. I'm going to go with the dollar index. We're still in the sideways move. We did break the top once. It doesn't mean we can't break the top a second time, but this is still not going to be the correction because this is getting very corrective. And the more corrective this gets, the higher the probabilities we're going to have a very sharp move down like this, even if we break the top again. Now, last week, if you were in my group, I did do a few webinars on my group, you would have noticed that we were looking for probably rejection from this top here once we broke the top. And as usual, you don't just sell it. We sold some small ones in there, but you would wait for this correction. I don't think this week exists. You wait for this correction to give you a sign that it's going to break to the downside. Now, for traders who are new to my channel, who will be seeing this video for the first time, the method we use is called wave analysis. And what we do is forecasting. And there are a set of rules that you need to know to understand how wave patterns behave. Now, one of the reasons this might not be going down today is because of the depth of the pullback into this impulse. So it doesn't mean it's not going to come down. I think we will get a downside to complete the third impulse, or the second impulse, sorry, third wave. And there's a good chance that we will retest the top before we drop. Now, when I said before we drop, what I'm forecasting is that once this corrective wave is finished, you could get one wave up, break the top and drop, or you could get a series of wave up, break the top and drop. But for simplicity's sake, I will go with the first wave dropping. It doesn't mean it's going to drop immediately. And it doesn't mean that we wouldn't be buying this one to the upside, or we wouldn't be selling this to the downside. Any one of those trades are possible depending on your skill level. And when you're in a group of very skillful traders, you make all those trades. So what we're seeing here is a sideways move on the 4 hour, a sideways move on the daily, and a sideways move on the 1 hour. You're in a correction, and that's good. We'll probably get a trade to the downside. We'll probably get a trade to the upside to break the top, and then we go. We will take the sell. Very rarely, the depth of the pullback into this level do drop. It's very rare. It's not a common thing, but sometimes that happens. I don't think this one will do that. I'm very skeptical about that. Sorry, guys. I wouldn't mute myself because then I'll have to mute quite a lot in the video, and that wouldn't be very nice. I know the coughing is disturbing, but the muting would be worst. So, yeah, I think this could drop. We can look for a sell setup to break the low. And if it keeps falling, great, you're in the sell. If it doesn't, then you'll have to move your stops, take whatever profit you can, and look for the upside on the turn of this to the upside. So what we would look for is what all the other trades are doing. Silver, okay. A very important thing about silver here is that we didn't break the low. That's very significant. If this had broken the low, I would totally be going up. Right? Remember last week we were, you guys in YouTube might not get it, but when my traders were with me in the group, I was like, this is going to break down. But then they made a big flat in the middle and they drop. And that's a key component of wave analysis. When you look at that, you're saying, well, this can't be the impulse to the downside. Even if you break the low, we're probably looking at a running flat. And now that we didn't break the low, we could be looking at a flat forming for another move to the downside, right? It will be very rare for this to be the first impulse up, this to be the correction, and this one to totally take off. It's possible, but that would be really, really rare. That's not how the pattern moves, most likely. Most likely, this would make a flat, which means we would see some kind of a correction here. Probably go, we will retest this top. High probability of retesting that up if we're making a simple flat. Retest that up and drop and break the low again before we go back up. And we will go back up as far as the bigger pattern is showing in the daily, it should go back up. So on the 1 hour, I would expect this to make some kind of a correction here and then up. Should this drop to the bottom? I think unlikely because this move up is very sharp. So just you're going to get a correction here and then upside. You can either put an entry order to buy above the top, or you can track this pattern as it develops and decide when you want to buy it. Right? That depends on your skill level and how you trade. An entry order above the top is a great idea for new traders, for traders who are not so skillful, because if this takes off suddenly, you wouldn't want that trade. Break this top, put it in the positive, put it into profit, and then see where you want to exit. Pretty much gold has a better option for the buy. Same thing, you're getting a flag. Gold did break the low. It's not going up as aggressive as we would like it to go, but this is a good sign that gold could go up. So if you get a buy setup here and you're getting a buy setup, that's a trade you should take. They do have a sharp move here that didn't break the low. So the only thing I would say is be cautious of this one when it breaks the top, if they come back like this and then go. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a running flat here. Right? So keep a stop under the low and manage the trade. Especially if it breaks here and it doesn't go, you will have to exit the trade. And we do have rules on how to exit those trades if they don't go. Right? So you don't have to live through the pullback. If this drops right now, that would be even better for us. If this comes here right now, this would be a better trade to the upside. Now, this would become a flat if that happens. Right? This will go back up, but this will become a flat. This would make a flat in the middle here. And that means this could drop. So keep your eyes on that. Follow the pattern and see how it works. If it breaks out now, you better be in the trade, because if they break out now, they can take off and break this stuff. Euro. Same thing. We expect euro to break the low. It broke the low. There's a good chance that it might even come and break this low. I wouldn't be surprised if this drops, break the low, and then we get the upside. Right? This would end the structure if that happens. We will go back to the bigger flat in here. Not this smaller one, but a bigger version of this. That is one option. Second option is you're making a bigger one here. Both options, once you break this low, is going to give you a move back to the top. So if we get a short-term sell setup here, you'd have to be very careful for it. If you're going to trade that, most likely if you get a trade to the upside, take the trade. If this gives you a buy setup, take it. Because it doesn't have to break the low. But they can break the low, then turn. So if it's going to turn from here, it's a good buy setup. This one looks like it's going to go down lower. We're making a flat here. So if this drops here, you're going to get a flat here. And you probably get one more down. So there might be a short-term trader. I don't think it's a good trade for traders who are not that skillful in getting out of trade really fast. Probably let it drop here and then look for a buy to the top to retest the top. Take this off. That is just to get to the top. So 4 hour, you're in a sideways move. If this drops here, we're going to expect this, probably come back here and then go back up. We have to come back and retest this top. If it goes up from here, a buy above the top might, we'll wait for a flag and then trade this move up. Because we're in a big sideways already. If you look at the 4 hour, we're in a big sideways. And this is the first impulse in that big sideways here. This one is the first impulse up. You've got an impulse down. You've got a correction here. You're getting an impulse down. This could probably do this, come here, probably even do another flat here and then go back up. So we could stay here for a longer while and then go back up. Pretty much like this flat. Okay? So there's a good chance that you get a flat here. You come here, break the low, go back up there and then drop. Right? It's a sideways move and they're not really moving very far. It's more like a big correction that is going very slow. The buy, if you break this low or you don't break the low, a buy setup if you get is a good one. We don't have a buy setup right now. We have more of a sell setup right now. And this would be a very short-term sell setup if you take this. Right? It's a short-term sell setup here. We expect up. I think if we get a flag here, the buy is a better option. Just to retest this top. And if it continues to go, good for you. Stay with it. Could this be a possible expanding flat here? Could this be some kind of an expanding flat in here? I think that's possible. So if this breaks the low and then go back up, the buy is a great idea. Short-term sell, well, if you have the skill level to deal with it, that should be about how much pips? I don't know. About 40 pips. If you have the skill level, not a bad idea. Aussie. Aussie dropped. We were expecting this to be a big flat last week when we were in the trading room. And I think this is going back up at least one more. This is climbing up, which means this correction could be bigger than, than I thought it is, which means I was expecting this to break the low, then go back up. If they go back up here without breaking the low, we're still going to drop, break the low, and then go back up. So short-term, very short-term buy. I wouldn't even risk this buy. I would wait for the sell to break the low, wait for this trade, and then go for the buy when the low is broken. You need to break that low because you're consolidating here. And when they break the low, we don't know how far they're going to go, right? It could come all the way to here before they go back up. So the sell is a good idea if you get the sell. It's a bigger trade than the buy. The buy in the 1 hour is a very short trade. You do have a 1 hour flag here. But I don't think that one is going to take off because the depth of these pullback in here is making more of a corrective structure. New Zealand. This one we expect to break out last week when I was in the trading room. That didn't break, it dropped. We also assumed that it could drop. This might give you a short trade up here and one more drop, break the low. The sell is a bad idea. Risk to reward is not in the sell. But once we break the low, you will have risk to reward in the buy if it goes back up. And it should go back up. We'll probably look at this as a big correction in here. Very similar, big expanding flat. This drops, break the low. It will drop. This will eventually drop, break the low, and then look for that trade up. And that should be the trade up. Take this off. That flag didn't break out, so expect it to break out from break the low first and then go. So there's a short-term sell setup here you can look for. Probably let this go back up. This should go back up here, and then look for a short-term sell. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Swiss. Still in the sideways. Well, last week we were expecting this to go back up and break the top here and then drop. So there's a sell setup here forming. See, that's a very good sell setup. Actually, the Swiss sell is a great trade because you can look at it two ways. We're in a big sideways move, very big sideways move on the daily and on the 4 hour and the 1 hour as well. I think we can expect this to be a contracting flat in there, which means because we broke the top, this comes down all the way back to the bottom like this move. This is the move we were anticipating, and then go back up. So we would go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then go back up for 1, 2, 3. Now, that's the most common pattern there can be. If there are two contracting flats in here, I'm not going to go into details for it, just not to confuse everyone else. My traders know because we did it last week. If there are two contracting flats in here, then this one is coming all the way to the bottom here. So the sell is a good idea. Now, the sell is a good idea and you have a perfect setup for the sell. You hardly find it so perfect. You have a very sharp impulse and you're getting a perfect flat setup here. All you need is a setup here to sell. I like the idea. I like the trade. It's an amazing trade. So let's go for it. Wait for the setup. You don't have a sell setup as yet. Sorry, guys. I'm assuming that there's a contracting flat in here. 1, 2, 3. That's the assumption that this is a contracting flat, which means 1, 2, 3, and this should be the fall. Any sell setup you get from here going down would be a good trade. We don't have a sell setup. They'll probably retest the top again. That's 15 minutes. On the 1 hour, you probably wouldn't see it. Wait for a sell setup, take the trade. Anywhere you get a sell setup going down would be a great idea. I actually really like this one. Yen. Last week, for my traders, we're going back to retest the top. We did all of this. We had 1, 2, 3. Go back, retest the top. And then when we get 1, 2, 3, we come back down. So let's look at this on the daily. On the daily, we have two options. The first option is that this here is the flat. And this will just continue to go up. It will not stop. It will just continue to go up and up and up, right? That's one option. The second option is going to 4 hour. The second option is that this is part of the flat, that this is a 1, we get a 2, we get a 3 here, go back up, come down again, and then go. That's a more complex flat pattern that it formed here. In that case, both of them will be up, but this would have to come down first. So if you get buy setup, you absolutely will take it. Any buy setup will take. And if this turns out to be a small consolidation for a buy setup, like this was, if this turned out to be something like this and we get a buy setup here, we will definitely take that trade. Even if it just breaks the top and then turn. We'll go with the sell afterwards, but the buy is a must. You must take the buy because there's a very big move to the upside. So let's see which one this gives us. The buy is a must. If it starts to come down from here, I don't think this one is coming down as yet, but if this do start to come down, which means it break the top, make a sharp move, give you a flag, we'll sell it to retest the low, then go back up. So those are the two options. Right now it's at the top here. These buys were good. It's at the top there. If you buy it, you have to manage it once it breaks the top again. CAD, downside. And there's a good chance believing CAD might go much lower. Right? It could be going much lower because this could be the top of this the move. If we take this to be the correction, then this could be the top, and this one would come to break this low. Make a bigger correction and then continue to go up. The bigger picture of CAD is upside. There's a rare chance it will retest the low in the weekly. This is the weekly low. There's a rare chance it will retest it. We don't necessarily need to do that because there's a complete pattern without that. But at least breaking this low seems like what we're going to have. So let's see. This might be a contracting flat in here as well. Some kind of a contracting flat in here. So you get 1, 2, 3, and this one is coming down to retest this low. That is a possibility. If you're getting sell setups, go for it. You had a sell setup here. That was a good one. If you get another sell setup, this is a 15-minute sell. I'll probably wait for the 1 hour. You're getting a 1 hour consolidation, by the way. This is a 1 hour flag. So if you get a 1 hour flag, at least go for one more impulse to break this low. And then we'll see how far it goes. Aussie yen looks more upside right now. We haven't broken the top, so we're probably going to make a bigger consolidation here. Come back to this level and then go make a bigger flat here. So downside, I think we ignore the buy, we go with. Euro yen, same thing, we ignore the downside, we go with the buy. We did tag the low, so this could take off if you get a consolidation, and you are getting a consolidation here, maybe some kind of a running flat here. We can go for that. This has to drop, make a flag here before you decide you're going for the buy. But if it stays in this range going up and down, that would be a buy setup. New Zealand yen. This one might be the only one that has a sell setup in it. And it's short term, that is this. That would be a short-term trade. I not necessarily retesting this low, it could just come here and then go back up. But there is a short-term sell setup here. Take the trade and then we'll see where that goes. CAD yen, that was a buy and it's going to break the top. I don't think we want to buy it anymore here. Once it breaks this top, there's a good chance we're coming down. This would be 1, 2, we didn't break the low. Go back, break the top for 3, and then come down. If we're making a much more complex pattern, which I doubt we are, but if we're making a much more complex pattern in here, we will still come back down and then go back up. So let it break the top and then start looking for your sell setup. So there's no buy there. Let it go break the top. It will break the top and then we start getting for the sell. Swiss. Okay, this might be turning. These were buy setups going up. And where are we going to? Let's see. It could still go higher. This could still go higher. I don't think we're ready for the downside as yet. Let's see. It could also drop, which means if they're trying to go down very slow with some kind of a channel forming here. This was the flat, but if you start to make some kind of a channel going down here, they can still drop and go back and drop and go back for a while. Let's go to the 1 hour, see what we have. No trade setups, right? If this becomes a flag somewhere here, I would like it to break down here and make a flag. And if you get a flag here, then we go for the sell. If it starts to go back up, put an entry for the buy or find a better entry. These are buy entries. You can actually put a buy entry there or find a better if you get a flag somewhere here for the upside. The sell would be coming. We'll only get a sell if we start to make a really big flag here for the sell. then that would make sense to expect it to retest the low. Euros, downside, look for sell setups. It's coming down. It's a big flat now. It's not just a flag. You're getting a flag here. That should be a sell. Take the trade. Take this flag. Watch it when it breaks this low, or when it comes to the low. There's a chance they can go back up, kind of something like this, and then drop again. Or it will just continue to drop. So the sell is a good idea. We're expecting to retest this low and go much lower than that because there's a very big picture for downside. There's a very big move for downside. Minimum is breaking this low. So sell setups are good. You get 1 hour flag, sell it. You're in New Zealand. This one went up higher. It didn't break out of this. We're looking for a break of this one as a small flag. They actually went higher. Well, we can actually expect them to make a bigger correction. Put it like this and go for a bigger correction. So every time it comes to the top, we sell. It goes up, come down, goes up, come down, goes up. This should probably go up, retest this top, and then look for sell. Is it coming down from this point? I don't think so. I think we'll break the top first. Most likely they'll break the top. This will go break the top and then drop. But if it starts to drop from here and make a flag here, we'll sell. Any flag under the low is a sell. Any flag in here, well, you can take the risk of bringing it back to the low. But breaking the top, once it breaks the top, any sell setup you get, you go for it. That's just a big correction there. We might look at this as a flat. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. Which means we need 1, 2, 3, and we already broke this top. Not necessarily that they need to break this top, but it would be good if they do that. Come down. So look for sell setups. Your cat is breaking out finally. Right, it's coming down to this level. There's a good chance we will go back up. Right, because this was a correction in it. This was a correction here. It didn't break the top, so this would come here, and there's a good chance you're going to go back up, retest the top. Now, in very rare cases, this could just break out totally, which means this would be just a correction in the down move. But I don't think this pattern is completed itself. Right, because it started here and we have like this. We have this sharp move here. It's a 3-wave structure, but pretty sharp. We have another sharp move up. You're getting another 3-wave structure. I think we could get one more move up there before we come down. So on the downside of this, you would want to watch this low. This is the low you don't want to break. If it breaks that low, it becomes a sell, total sell for a big move to the downside. If you don't break that low, right now that we've broken this low, that's enough for you to look for buy setups. So from this point, if you get a turn here and a flag, that definitely is a buy for this move up. I'm more inclined to believe we're going to have the buy setup rather than the sell. Don't try to sell it here. It's useless. Let it break through, break this low, make corrections, and then go for the sell. Euro Swiss, you're getting a big correction here. So that's a sell setup. This one is a pretty easy one. And it's a very big correction. So that should make it life easy for you. Pretty easy. I think there's a good chance we're going to come here and go back up. This should be a flat here. Put an entry under the low, totally under the low if you want, if you think this is going to drop through the bottom. But I think we'll make a flat in here, go back, and then drop. Good trading. This is an easy one. You have a very sharp impulse. You're getting a nice flat here. Perfect sell. You can't ask for better than that. If it goes up, not your problem. I don't think it's going to go up, but what if it goes up? What if it does what this did? I thought we were looking at this as a flat as well. And then it went up and then it does this and then it went up and do that. You can probably start buying from here. Still not a great idea, right? So let's see if this is going to drop or if they're going to repeat that kind of move. That kind of move doesn't really give you a good trade because you're going to have break even. It doesn't matter where you buy. These deep pullback here will take you out to break even. But if it starts to drop from here, it's going to go really fast. In the big picture, we'll come and we'll retest this low. We'll retest this low if they come. And then we'll look for the upside. See? So if this goes down, that's a good trade. See, this one was fast. This one here was fast. So you can get a very fast move to the downside. Euro pound. Also consolidating for the downside. Take this off. That was a buy on the sell on the 1 hour. That we were selling here last week. That's not this week. That's last week trade. if you're going to take the trade, you should be in it already. I think if you wanted to trade this, now might be too late. Let it break this low and then make a flag and then sell it. Hong Yen came down, it's going back up. So we were looking at 1, 2, 3, come break this low and then go back up, and you still have more to the upside. Break this top and then come back down. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, and then come back down. So there's a very nice trade to the upside there, and then a trade to the downside. Sorry, guys. Pancad. Okay, this one is a little weird because we need to break that top before it goes down totally. And it didn't break the top. Kind of strange. It means we're making something more complex than I thought we were making. Because if we repeat this 1, 2, 3 here like that, it means we're going to come back here with another sharp move, and then we're going to end up with a series of another 3-wave structure going on, right? Because this big consolidation here wasn't necessary. See this big one here? It becomes a 3-wave structure, 1, 2, 3. So you have 1, 2, 3 up. If you get 1, 2, 3 down, you need a 1, 2, 3 up, and then you will continue to finish this structure. So we can be in this thing for a very long time. This big consolidation, if we had got one sharp wave up like this, that'd be perfect. We'll be dropping. But now that you're making a very big flat in here, it means we're likely gonna go up back, but it's likely gonna be just a big consolidation. Sorry, guys. So look for buy setups. If you get buy setups, you're retesting the stop, take the trade, get out, look for sells. Pangos. This has a very, very big consolidation. Huge consolidation here, a sharp drop, and something that looks very sharp here. It doesn't look like a correction as such. This piece, it does have some correction in here, but it still looks very sharp. You had a sharp move down and you're making a flat in the middle here. If you go up like that and come back here, this will be a flat for one drop. Go to the 4-hour. You have a sharp move down, a sharp move up, and you're consolidating here. That means one more up, one more down, and then one more up. Go to the 1-hour. Wait for buy setups. Wait for it to break out of this and then get a flag. If you get a flag after that, it's a good buy. It might be a little more complex than that, which means this could probably still go up and come back here a few times and then drop one more and then go. That possibility exists. So you needed to make an impulse, you needed to make a flag, and then you go for the buy. Pound Swiss. There is a buy setup here, but we were trading this small flag. Now it came deeper and it's going up. You can still go with the buy, but if it breaks this stop here, there is a chance you could be looking at a 1, 2, 3 and downside. Right, the more complex because of the depth of this pullback. But the buy is not a bad idea from this point. If you get a flag, it will be better. So you have to be very cautious with it though, because it could be a correction, which means they break the top and then start to drop. Pound New Zealand. This was a bigger correction. Turned out to be a bigger correction. So you've got this slow move up, you've got that correction, you're going to get another slow move up, and then you get a drop. So you can easily bring this down to here. A very complex pattern. The buy here might not be the best one unless you get a very good flag to break this up. The way this went up, there's a good chance this is not going to go up so fast. So just ignore it until it breaks the top and then start to look for sell setups. Aussie Swiss. Okay, we were anticipating a sell here, and now it's going back up. We're anticipating this to make a sell, and now it's going back up to the top. This move down is pretty sharp, and it didn't break the low. It was supposed to go break the low and then go back up. It didn't break the low. So the question now, we're still in this consolidation here. See, we're still in this consolidation. So the only question we have now is this ready for the breakout? And if so, why is this move so sharp here? So there's a good chance that even if you break this top, all of this comes more like a consolidation. We retest the low and then we go, right? I don't think this move, because of this deep pullback here, is ready to break out totally. See, when you get all these deep pullback in it, it's more of a flat for downside. When you had this deep pullback in here, it becomes more of a correction for downside. See that? So there's a good chance with this deep pullback, we can probably look for possible running flats here, break the top, drop here, and then go back up. Right? So if we get a buy setup, what we'd have to do is be very cautious. If you get a buy setup here, once it breaks this top, you'll have to be very, very cautious. Put it at least to break even. Because breaking that top means it can drop. Now, what are the rare chances it breaks it up and take over? That'd be pretty rare, because then we'll go to a very big flat here, right? Kind of a 1, 2, and this takes off. A very big flat inside of the correction before it takes off. It happens, but it's rare. That means if you get the buy here, take it. To be on the safer side, let it break out, then make a flag, and that becomes the safest trade you will ever have. That is a must go, but now you have the probability you're no longer in the correction zone. Aussie CAD, this didn't break out. Take off that. It actually dropped lower. That was making a flag and it dropped lower. So we'd assume that we're coming back to retest this low. Take that off. Not the best sell setup. You wouldn't get a good sell setup in it. Take this off. That's a sell. 1 hour trade. You can sell because they're going to break this low, but you really want a very good sell setup before you take it to get good risk to reward in it. Because the pullbacks are very sharp. See these pullbacks? They're very sharp. So you would have to have a bigger stop, which means the risk to reward would be worst. Aussie New Zealand. You're getting a very big correction here, so look for sell setups. You anywhere from here you get a sell setup should be okay. New Zealand Swiss. Okay, this one came down back. That there was a small flag here. We had an end shoulder above it. For that small flag is going to break. It came back down here. It goes back up there, and then it will come back here because this becomes a bigger flat. So I don't think we're ready for the upside. This one did break out, but it seems we're making a bigger flat here now. Put it like that. Take this off. Here in the B part, this is a sharp impulse down. You make a bigger flat here, go back up, do this a few times, come back here, and then go. Make this a bigger flat. It's outside of the correction, but it's just becoming a bigger flat. Can we buy it if we get a buy setup? Why not? If you get a good buy setup here, it's worth taking the trade back to the top here. If you get a good buy setup here, go back to the top there, and then we'll see if it's ready for the drop. Break the low, and then go back up. You're in consolidation. Most of the pairs are in some kind of a consolidation. New Zealand CAD, we didn't have any trade on this. It was going sideways and then it started to drop, so take that off. It's a good trend, but because of the depth of this, that is no longer valid, and we're in this move. Okay, so we just, if you get I wouldn't wait for a flag, I'd wait for a correction here. And if you get a correction like that, then you trade this down to that level. Only if you get a correction, not a flag. You definitely want a correction before you do that. CAD Swiss, this was a buy. It actually broke the top. Put it in the profit during the trade and wait to see how high it goes. If you're not in the trade, just wait. There is no setup. Wait for another flag if you're going to buy. If it's going to come back to the low, I doubt it will, but if it's going to come back to the low, you'll get out of the trade and you look for sell setups. Okay, we're going sideways here, and this is likely going to come down. One more here, probably even stay within this range. But there's a sell setup forming here. If that break, sorry, if that break through, but if it doesn't break through, it comes to the logo back up. Let's see if we can finish these very fast. You're getting a running flat forming here. And then one more up. From the top here, they can either break out or they can drop again. US oil, it's a buy. Actually, this was to break the top. The buy is from here, the buy is from here, and the buy is from here. If you get another flag, go for a buy, but be cautious. Right? You have to be cautious of the buy. We have divergence on the daily, we have divergence in the 4-hour, and I think we're getting divergence on the 1-hour. Because we just broke that top there. See, we have this divergence starting from this point. There's divergence in the chart. And I think we do have divergence between these two as well. Yep, we do. So if you're buying cautiously until you get to this top, right? We're trying to get back to that top there. Break the top. So there's a buy. Take it until you break that top. And then if the divergence still stay there, be very careful. Could it be they're dropping right now? I don't think so. I think it's too early. We're just making correction for upside. I would not sell the first small flag at the top there, put it that way, because of the depth of this pullback. See, the depth of this one here, this was a 15-minute flag. I'll probably look at this as a 1-hour flat in the making, especially if they go back up there and come down here again. That would be a flag. Let's assume this is the top and they're dropping. They're not going to break the top. Let it come down some more, make a flag here, and then go for the sell. I will let it drop some more, make a flag, and then go for the sell. You have a lot of divergence, so the sell is possible if it happens. Natural gas. Any flag you can buy. We already broke the top on the daily, so they'll just go break this top again. US 30. Buy setup. That one is good. You still have buy setup. Still take it. You're going to break this top. So if it gives you another flag, buy again. You had one flag. If it gives you another one, buy again. DAX. We'll probably get a flat here and then upside. Something like this and then upside. This would be a small flat. And then upside. S&P 500, same thing, upside. Until we break that top. It seems they're going to climb here. This is just a deep pullback. We had a few deep pullback before that. This might turn out to be just another deep pullback from here. Pull it from this one. Series of running flats in there. Very similar to this deep pullback. That might be a long drawn out running flat. I don't think so. It's just a deep pullback of its own. It has enough corrections in it. So buy to break that up, especially if we get a flag here. This was a buy. If you get another running flat, go for the buy again. AU 200. Probably stay out of this one. It's likely going to go break this top, but you're not really getting good trade setups in it. Nifty. Still going, so you can still buy. Take any flag you get. Probably go in the 1 hour or the 15 and take flags. You get in a 1 hour flag, take the trade. Tesla. Okay, so we broke that top, and now you have to be careful because every time they break the top, they come back, break the top, they come back, they break the top, they pull back, they break this top, they'll probably go a little more and then pull back. This eventually will break down. So if you took the buy, take it with cautions, and then we look for the downside. There's a very sharp move here. I think we're going to get this sharp move first. Whenever it goes there, we're going to get this sharp move first and then probably go back up. Amazon. You can go with the buy setup. There's a small flag here. We can go with this buy to break this top and see what happens when it breaks that up. Because this pullback is not very clear why we have that pullback. We're supposed to go up a lot because we finish a big consolidation here. Unless we are making a much bigger consolidation, which we'll have to review the whole structure. Because I thought that consolidation ended there. But if this thing is making a much bigger consolidation, then we're going to be making a huge running flat here. Reliance. It's going up. So if you get flags, you can buy. We'll have to go with a contracting flat here. This is a contracting flat. So any flag you get there, you can buy. PayPal. It's coming down and there's a good chance we could. This might go back up to the top there and then wait for a drop. If they do retest the top, if you get a buy here, you can go. If they do retest the top, you're still looking for this before you go. So go to the 1 hour. If you get a buy setup, take the buy setup to retest this top first, not the bigger one. But if they do retest the bigger one, no problem. Come here and then look for the sell. Retest the bigger one, gets to the bigger one, take off the trade. This is easy. You get another correction here, go for the buy. Bitcoin. Okay, we're making more of a consolidation here. Pull this across here. You're making more of a consolidation. And that should drop. Just like this big consolidation drop, this is a smaller version of that. It should drop. It's consolidating for a while, so I think we'll probably see this go up here. More like a 1, 2, 3. Go back to the top there, drop back here, go back there, and then drop. Something like this. Right? That should be a more complex pattern. I don't think we're taking off to the upside. XRP, same thing. You're making a complex pattern here. You can pull this here now. Because you're gonna, this would be 1, 2, 3. Could go up a little, come back down here like this, go back up there and then drop. All of them have similar structure. The B part is this one. This one should drop, go back up and then come down. ETH, very similar. You're getting this 1, 2, 3 structure here. I wouldn't be surprised if it drops like this, go back up there and then come down. One more. We're expecting this to at least come back to this level. At least come back to this level. And then upside. So this should be some kind of a complex flat forming here, sorry. I don't think we're going back up as yet. So let's see, keep your eyes on this. Dash. This one is easier because we broke the low already. So this up move should come here and then come down. More of a running flat pattern. I think same thing here, more of a running flat pattern. You have this move, you got a 1, 2, 3, you get this up and then you get down. That should be more of a running flat pattern. Slightly up, then down. This should be the same thing. You broke the low, so you could probably go back up there and then come down. Okay, this one is probably the same thing. You tag the low. I don't think we're totally going up as yet. It's more corrective than. Take this off. This one has a big flat in here. That kind of make this a 1, 2, 3. So you get a 1 up, you get one more up here. Probably come back down. Right? It could be either a more complex pattern or total downside. So there might be a buy setup to retest this top and then the sell. This is the same sideways. Kind of go here, go back up there, come back here, maybe go back up and then drop. Go for a bigger correction like that. So they're all showing us bigger correction in play. Let's see. I think that's the end of it. We managed to finish this in about an hour. So again, if you managed to watch it to the end, please share it. Thank you for your time and thanks to the YouTube viewers.